Here we are, video number 1. This is my beautiful face. Hello, good to meet you. My name's Toby Panone. I am a freshman at Boston University, but I'm from New York, obviously. I live in New York. I am here right now. And I'm a nerd. I'm very nerdy. I love movies. I have a Letterboxd account. I'm going into film. I love roller coasters. I keep track of every single one I go on, and I know pretty much everything about every roller coaster you could ask me about. I make maps in my free time. I love maps. I love science and chemistry and experimentation, and I love learning. But more than anything else, as you can probably tell because you're watching this channel, I love trains. I love passenger trains. I love subways. I love rapid transit. I love metros. I love regional rail, commuter rail, national rail services, high-speed rail, maglevs, monorails, kind of, streetcars, trams. It's all really interesting to me. Any form of transportation is really interesting to me, and that's what I want to share with you on this channel. I don't really know what's going to happen, but I really just love transportation, and I want to make videos for you. So I have a few videos in the works. This is going to be sort of an introductory video where you're going to be able to learn about my favorite New York City subway station. You probably already know what it is based on the title, and I teased it a little bit and all that stuff, but nonetheless, I'm really excited to show it to you, and hopefully if you enjoy that, you'll be able to stick around. One last thing I want to get to before we do that, just something important, is I wanted to just say that there are a lot of creators that inspired me for this. I'm going to put them up on screen right now, surround my face with them, inspired me in some way, shape, or form. So the first thing I gotta say is if you don't already follow them, definitely do that. If you like this video, maybe you'll like what they're gonna do. It's gonna be way better than what I can do. But also just note that they really inspired me a lot to get to the point where I am today. So if you see something that seems oddly similar to what they do, or, you know, I make references, that's totally gonna happen. I love all of these YouTubers. Every single one that I put up on the screen is just someone who I adore, so I'm really inspired by them. I really love them, and more than anybody else, Jeff Marshall, an incredible transit YouTuber in the UK, really inspired pretty much everything that I've been doing so far, everything I've been thinking about. I just love the way that he makes his videos. I love the way that he films them, and so I'm really taking a lot of inspiration from the way he does things. So that's your little disclaimer. That's your little intro to me, and without further ado, let's go to the train station. Alright, hello, here we are at Roosevelt Island Station. It's a pretty impressive site, if you can see. I mean, it's a small little station house, but it's really pretty. It has these overarching red beams, which is one of my favorite parts of it. You know, the whole island sort of has a red theme. Because it's in the 63rd Street Tunnel, which goes underneath the island all the way between Manhattan and Queens, we have some really long escalators that we're going to go down. So let's head down to platform level. Pretty incredible. According to my camera, without walking down the escalators at all, that is an unbelievable 2 minutes down. We are really far below ground. It's not the deepest station in the system, but just to get to the mezzanine level, that is 2 minutes. Unbelievable. It's really deep below ground, and as you could see here and during that video, I think there's a pretty good reason why this is my favorite subway station. I haven't visited every single subway station in New York, despite the fact that I've lived here my whole life, but I visited a lot of them, and it's pretty easy to see what the sort of themes are, the way that the stations are designed. But I feel out of every station in the system, this one has no real counterpart. Despite the fact that this was built in the 80s, along with the entire extension and construction of the 63rd Street Tunnel, it doesn't have that red tile feel that I think a lot of the other lines along this stretch and Archer Avenue have. So it definitely feels unique. I mean, you have these, in my opinion, very, very pretty blue tiles along the wall. What I think is absolutely gorgeous arched silver. You know, you have on the E and M train going cross town, you have the white slatting, but it's not as wide as this. And this station just feels so much more open and so much more beautiful and just really incredible to rail fan at. I mean, you have this view looking over and down onto the platform. There are no real columns, and it's just overall a really gorgeous, really clean station. Alright, so now we can head down to platform level. There are more escalators, but I'm not going to take them. I think I'm escalatored out for today. So yeah, this is also a really interesting station. You know, Roosevelt Island is considered part of Manhattan, but it's a completely separate island. You have the E and M trains crossing under, as well as the N, R, and W train, but they don't stop here. You know, it was originally only accessible via a streetcar that would stop on the Queensboro Bridge, and there would be an elevator down. It was, you know, there is the bridge that goes into Queens, but if you really want to get into Manhattan, you want to use some sort of public transportation, the subway is almost your only option. We'll talk a little bit more about the other options later, but it is a very interesting station. It's a very unique station, and it's a lot busier today than I thought it would be, but it's usually a pretty empty station. One of the worst things about the classic MTA subway design is that it's really just pretty basic. It's pretty cluttered. It's pretty crowded with information and pipes and lights and columns. But you look at this platform, it almost feels like it could be a DC metro station with how much more open it is. You know, there are like a handful of columns down there to support the mezzanine, and of course you have to have these lights, which, by the way, I think are better than on the DC Metro, because as gorgeous as the DC Metro stations are, they're very dark. They are very, very dimly lit, which is not great. But, you know, I just really think that this is a beautiful station in every way. From these tiles to the silver roof to the lack of columns, I truly think that, in my opinion, this is the best subway station. But it's not all about the station itself. At least in my mind, it's about what surrounds the station. So, let's go check that out right now. Alright, outside of the station, the mask has come off, and my hands got totally disgustingly stained by the MTA escalators. Great job, MTA, keeping those clean, as we all know. And here we are on Roosevelt Island. Like I said, it's not always about the station itself, although obviously that's really important. In my mind, it's a lot more about the surroundings, the area that the station is in. And for me, despite Roosevelt Island being a very residential area, it is my favorite place in New York City, hands down. Let's take a little look around the island and see what we can see. And there we have it, Roosevelt Island. I didn't walk too far, partially because I want to get lunch and I'm really hungry, but also partially because I am lazy. But this was an incredible first video. I had a lot of fun making it. I really have no clue where I'm going to go with it, what I'm going to do with it, what's next, but I have a video that I'm planning to film soon. I actually have two that I'm planning to film soon, and I have a bunch more after that. I have a giant Google Docs list that is just full of ideas that are either really nerdy or really interesting, depending upon who you ask. But once again, thank you so much for joining me for this. Hopefully this turns out well. Hopefully you like it. And let's close out with a shot from my favorite thing about Roosevelt Island, other than the train station, the tramway. See you guys soon.